Recreation and Natural Resources Commission. Roll call.
Taken.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Susie lead today. Pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Can I entertain a motion to approve the agenda for tonight?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. That passes. Can we have a motion to approve the minutes from September 8th?
Motion. I second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, those pass. Open forum.
Then we have none.
None. All right. Action items. Start with the ice arena remodel design review.
Thank you, Chair, members of the commission. So over the past few months, we've been looking at the Cottage Grove Ice Arena and trying to solve some logistical problems we're having up at the arena. So the original rink was built in 1973. That included both the area that's the barrel roof, and then we added on to it with that square rectangular flat roof building in 2008. But one of the areas we never touched was kind of from the offices all the way through the concession stand and into those previous restrooms. So I'll just go over so that's what we're trying to, the problems we're trying to solve are improving the office space. Right now, the workstations are severely cramped. We actually have multiple staff sharing workstations and sharing small workstations at that. So trying to solve some of that. The concession area is really a pretty inefficient layout. It's kind of an L shape with a separate room, auxiliary room, and so that needs some improvement there, obviously, because that is a revenue generating operation. The lobby is quite aged. It looks like 1973 when you kind of get in there, the way the design is. So improving the aesthetic look of it, but then also improving the traffic flow. There's a lot of bottlenecks in there just because the building was added on and changed through different construction projects, so it's pretty compartmentalized. So trying to improve the flow there. And then just, we can always use more storage areas. So we worked with architect, Ortel Architects, who's familiar with this. They actually, the architect is actually a goalie coach at Cooper, which practices at the New Hope Ice Arena, which is a sister facility to our ice arena. They were actually built, this one, Cottage Grove Ice Arena, the New Hope Ice Arena, and the Alexandria Ice Arena were all built in 1973, 1974. And if you go to any one of them, you will recognize that design. So it's kind of neat. We have two sister facilities across the state of Minnesota. So with that, I will just review the concept design and then looking for feedback on that before we get into any type of final design work. And when I say final design work, that takes about a year process to design that. So we are a long ways from final design. So as you have questions and comments, now is a good time to get that in the concept phase. So let me pull up my screen. So I just want to talk about the areas of consideration. So this is the areas we're working on. If you walk in from the main entry, you can see the grayed out area. So let's see if my thing will work. So this is where you enter the facility and you're walking that way through there. So this is the areas that we're looking at impacting. Let's see here. How do I shut that off? Oh, I knew I wouldn't be that good at this. So this is the current design layout. Like I said, you can see it's very compartmentalized. The different colors represent the different functions. So you have the concession stand, you have the offices, you have old restrooms, which are in the green over here, which are, oops. Not gonna work? Uh-oh, Jim. Oh, I hit the wrong button. These are the green offices over here, or I'm sorry, the old restrooms there. We had kept those restrooms in place in 2008, thinking that we may use those for larger events. I think we used them one time during a Park Woodbury High School game, and then we never used them again. So now they're actually used for, we ripped out all the plumbing fixtures, and they're used for equipment storage. So So we can definitely use that space better. Then we'll get into the fun stuff. So this is the floor layout. You know, the 2D imaging, so so this area would be a new, so as you enter from this area, oh, here we go again. So as you enter the facility from this area, not much would change upon the actual entry, but then as you get to this front desk counter, there'd be a nice front desk receiving area. As I said, right now, there's a kind of a big glass window there, but it's mostly cinder block walls. This will soften that a little bit. And then we're actually moving the office wall out a little bit. One, because then we can actually move this area in to release this bottleneck that's here right now. So that'll actually open that up a little bit and create a better flow through there. And then by pushing that in and pushing that in on that corner and then pushing it out in the middle, we kind of get back our office space, and it makes it a little bit easier to create all the extra cubicles. So you can see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cubicles, which right now we have 4. And then we have the 2 offices, which are smaller, but the offices that are there now are quite large. So this function works. The staff has reviewed it. We taped everything on the floors, making sure everything feels right to them, and we're not crunching them too much. And then little things that, you know, maybe aren't important to this group as much, but like moving the skate sharpening machine into a spot that's a little bit better for noise control. Right now, the skate sharpening machine is right next to our reception desk where they got to answer phone calls, and not the greatest environment for doing that. So then as we move back to the concession area, which is back here, we're actually, what's nice is this wall originally was a square. So you'd come down and you can actually see in the concession stand until you actually turned around the corner, and then you could see the concession stand. So then you could see your menu and things like that. So that line would actually wrap all the way down and sometimes go out to lobby, which if you've ever stood in a concession stand line and you can't see the front, it's frustrating, right? You don't know if you're 100 deep or if you're 6 deep, and you don't know what's going on in front of you. So this will actually open up those viewpoints. So you hopefully 90% of the time, the customers can actually see into the concession stand from wherever they're at. So we actually don't lose any space in the concession stand. We end up absorbing that space from those restrooms that I showed you earlier, and then adding that into the concessions. And then I can show you, we add storage space over on the south rink, which I'll show you here in a second. The other thing is we do add a serving station to the south rink over here, because we're actually extending the mezzanine on the upper level. So this is the south rink over here. Oops. So this mezzanine that's currently right here actually extends this way, and it's actually a indoor heated warming area. There is currently nowhere to view the south rink in an indoor warming area other than downstairs, where there's 2 small windows that people kind of clamor in. They try to watch from down there, but this will be a really nice addition of that feature that is on the other rinks, some heated viewing areas. And then, like I said, we pick up some storage space here. Actually, this is additional storage space as well. So this would be storage space for the concession stand. This would be moving the hockey equipment that was in that previous space, just moving that down to that space over there. The other addition over here is along the north rink. So this is actually an outdoor area. It's a elevated mezzanine. So as you are in the north or the CG logistics rink, you can walk outside into the rink, so getting the rink experience again, but you're up on a mezzanine. Part of the reason we're adding that is just to add capacity to the CG logistics rink, but then also if you've ever been on the West Rink during a high school hockey game or a tournament, that is where a lot of people like to hang out. Is they want to be in the environment, in the hockey environment, hear the noises, hear the calls, hear the hockey players talking, but they also want to be elevated. So we think that'll add to that experience there. Any questions on the floor layout? Otherwise, I'll show you the 3D images.
So you would keep skate sharpening in the office area?
Yep, we'll keep skate sharpening in the office. But it ends up tucking back into, see if I can change colors. Nope.
Wow.
Tucks into this area right here. So a
Okay.
little bit removed from the reception area, which is up here.
And all the rental skates would stay in there also?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
So with that mezzanine, is there a reason why it's that short, or could it go farther down, or?
Well, it extends quite a bit. I think it gets down to the blue line. But the other thing is that the high school is looking at building a JV locker room, which actually comes from the other direction. So that's going to start to create so there's let's see here. So the JV locker room is going to come somewhere down here, and we still need an exit. There's an emergency exit here. So we're kind of pushing it down as far as we can without
Okay.
encroaching on everything.
I did like how the picture on there was the traditional hockey dad standing there.
That's what it is. With a drink rail, yep. No alcohol, but Diet Coke or whatever it might be, yep. So yeah, but going back, just real quick, big points are improving that flow, improving the vision into the concession stand, adding concessions to the south rink, picking up storage area down here, and then obviously improving that office area. So then, what that looks like. So this would be your entry from the main doors. As you can see, it softens up. It's a lot of glass in front. I think they did a good job with some of that lighting. Again, this is all concept, but trying to be creative with lighting and glass work and things like that to try to make it look more like 2025 than 1973. But obviously then still that barrel roof is a beautiful barrel roof with the woodwork up there, so still keeping that exposed. Again, just another view as you enter, and you can kind of see how that area opened up, especially on those busy tournament events and, easing that flow into the facility. Again, just looking down at the concession area. Just a different angle view. Again, just different angles of the same kind of area of concern. This is looking back looking back at the exit doors towards the Park High School, if you're not familiar with the area. And then we want to be creative with the use of the CG logo or any other branding, whether that's on the floor and stamped concrete. We would redo all the floors up there. They're in dire need of some updating of the concrete floors. Then taking advantage of some of that wall space that's up there. And again, this is the view as you're walking towards the concession stands, and they use some of that ceiling decoration to kind of show some flow into the concession area. And then that's what the concession area looks like. We did not tell them to put all those murals up there, but I think they look pretty fantastic. There's actually some local history there, as well as, more state and U.S. hockey history up there, but we certainly could, work in an art program of some sort. And as Commissioner Larson had mentioned, so you can see where, the mezzanine now extends over on this side, so maybe not quite to the blue line, but, and we can certainly look at, as we get into design, we can certainly look to see how far we can push that. I'm just not sure if they're attaching to that beam there. These beams are 30 feet apart, so at some point I think they're trying to attach to one of those footings. We did look at trying to ease the bottleneck, so it's a pretty tight stairway down here, especially with hockey bags, because all the players, one of the great things about the Cottage Grove Ice Arena is spectators never have to go down and hang out with hockey players or figure skaters. One of the tough things is getting people up and down. We have one elevator, and then the stairs aren't the greatest, so it gets pretty tight down here. But to do that, we almost had to take out an entire section of bleachers, and I'm not sure we want to do that yet. It's something we're still looking at to see if there's a better way to do it, but it'd be nice to expand that walkway a little bit, but it becomes pretty hard you have to have a walkway down, then you have to have a turn spot, and then a second turn spot to get down underneath the mezzanine, but we're still looking at that. That's that bottleneck I was telling you about, walking down the stairs. There's the hockey dad Adam had mentioned. So this is actually the south rink. So from here, this area all exists right now. This is outdoor, exposed to the elements of the rink, but then you would walk into this warming area here. And then this is the warming area. And then again, concession service would be right through there which we have no concession service on the south rink now. Oops. And then the office areas, which is very exciting, a bunch of cubicles. And as far as the rental skates, we have 3 carts that we use. So one of the carts would be in the facility at all times. The other 2 will have a little storage spot for them, so they will actually come out of the office. But there's enough to have at least 1 or 2 in there for our major events. So, and then just kind of the square footing and whatever else. The project right now is estimated at under $2 million. We'll see where it's at once we get through design and everything else. The ice arena obviously does generate revenue and typically is self-sustaining, so we would hope to pay for this through ice arena revenue. It'd be a bond, and then the ice arena would pay for the project through revenues. So, but obviously the city council still has to approve all this, and so that's why we are looking for the commission feedback. And then there was a time schedule in there, so we are still a few months out from making any major decisions, but looking for feedback at this point in the design to make sure we're going down the right track with your experiences at the arena.
Commission feedback?
I think it looks really nice. I've been going there because my son's been taking skating lessons, and I didn't realize how busy it is until I started going there on a regular basis. So I think this would be, since it's such a well-regarded and used facility, it would be nice to have some of those updates because you can see it's kind of starting to look a little bit aged.
Yeah, thank you.
Anyone else? I think it looks great. I mean, I've spent a lot of time in that lobby. But yeah, it looks fantastic. I'd maybe consider a couple screens for the tournaments to put the tournament scores up instead of taping them to the walls and covering up half the glass. But I really like the look of the openness and the access to the concessions. And having a warm spot on the south rink is probably something that people have been asking for forever.
Yep.
I think it's also nice because it adds more space, because it's always like, there's not really space unless you stand down below, and then up top it's like 2 rows and you're like,
Yep.
so.
You gotta be there quick, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Get that railing spot.
Are we looking for a motion to,
Yeah, just a motion to approve the concept design.
I'll make a motion to approve the concept design.
I second.
motion and a second? Any other discussion?
Did you want to add the screens rather than taping up the scores for tournaments as one of our suggestions to council?
I think not really. I mean, it's just more of a suggestion for the Parks Department.
Yeah, we might actually do that before this even happens. I mean, it's a good suggestion, so it's a good idea, something we could probably do before this project even.
That's how I got my water fountain in there.
Yeah, where's that gonna go though, now that this wall moves?
Yeah, true.
That's true, that is, that was the first thing I asked for when I joined the commission, was putting the drinking fountain back on the second floor of the ice arena.
Oh,
So we have a motion and a second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, looks good. Ice arena naming rights.
Thank you, Chair, members of the commission. So the city council has expressed a desire to do marketing rights at the Cottage Ice Arena, and we've actually had that as an option to sell those naming rights since the ice arena was expanded in 2008. We just haven't had any takers. With the exception of a couple of years ago, CG Logistics, one of the industrial park leaseors or landowners slash building owners out there, did partner with the city and rename the North Rink to CG Logistics Rink. So we use that in every way. So when we rent out that rink, we call it the CG Logistics Rink, and it's up there for tournaments and everything else. So that was our first naming rights sponsorship. We did reach out to a few other potential partners, but have not had success in doing that on our own. And that's why most cities actually partner with advertising agencies to do this type of work. So we reached out to probably the most successful one that we know of in the area, which is Front Burner Sports, and looking to see if there, and then we reached out to them, received their presentation on what they've done for other communities, brought that back to City Council in the form of 2 different workshops. And actually, the gentleman was there, Chris Potenza was there to present to the council, and the council said to basically move forward with the proposal. And so I'm working right now to get the final proposal from Front Burner Sports, bring it to City Council, negotiate those terms, and see if it moves forward from there. But I did give you the full presentation of what their company does. It has their overview, how they approach these types of projects. It also has some past history of some of their success stories, and then, again, just their staging of the process and how they get to a successful marketing plan. So wanted to get your feedback on that. It is kind of a big endeavor, takes a lot of work. At the same point, it also changes the facility, right? I mean, if there were to be it's important for people to understand that if there were a company that wants naming rights for the entire facility, that is no longer called the Cottage Grove Ice Arena. It's called something else, right? So you lose your identity a little bit there. So just, the nearest example is the former Bielenberg Sports Center in Woodbury was changed to, what was it before that, though? Does anybody know? I forget.
Sports medicine, some sports medicine.
Yeah, what was it? Shoot, I had it in my head. Yes. It was something else before M Fairview Health. Health Partners? Health East. It was Health East Sports Center. So it was Bielenberg Sports Center, Health East Sports Center, and now it's M Fairview Health. So again, so it no longer has, those ties, that direct tie to the community. So it's just something that doesn't mean it's wrong or it's right. It just means that you just have to recognize that you're losing that little bit of identity. So it is kind of a big deal, but it also brings in quite a bit of revenue that can help support the operations. And obviously, ice arenas have a lot of capital funding that have to come with them for equipment and, things like replacing the steel roof up there that's been up there since 1989. And Zambonis have to be replaced, and refrigeration needs work all the time. So there's a lot of high costs that are associated with that. So these types of programs certainly help to support the facility. So I'm not going to get into the details of this. Hopefully, I had time to read through it, but I would like to take a moment to answer any questions, concerns, or share any comments you might have with City Council as we bring this to them here in the next week or 2.
So when they have naming rights, so that's monetary, correct? But do they have a say in what goes on or what's done to the facility, things like that?
No, they have no ownership, so they have a say in the signage that gets put up, so we would partner with them, and it's laid out in the agreements of, they get X amount of square feet of signage and whatever else, but no, they have no say in how it's operated.
Okay.
When they evaluate partners for naming rights, what types of things do they take into consideration? Is it just who's willing to pay for it, or do they look at company values and vision to make sure it aligns with city?
Yes, good question. So they do that, and one of the first steps in this process is meeting with the marketing agency and telling them what our policies and procedures are, and what, right now, our policies say, nothing with gambling, nothing with alcohol, smoking, you can kind of go down the list. So we can lay all that out ahead of time so that they make sure that they're finding partners that make sense with our policies and our expectations.
Thank you.
So I was interested in knowing a little more about the CG Logistics Rink contract, and if there's any potential things with that contract that might impact our ability to move forward with the others. Do they have to play well together, kind of a thing? And with CG Logistics being right here in town, I just want to make sure that we make sure and let them know that we value the partnership we currently have with them, and that this is in no way trying to diminish the value of that for us. that feels important to me.
Yeah, good comment, Commissioner Olson. I will say when they entered in the agreement, it was less about marketing and advertising for them, and it was more about just community support. So we had given them some options on marketing and advertising. They said, we want some signs, we want the name, but we're really not trying to generate a ton of business off this. We're just trying to, when they enter new communities, they try to support, and this was one of their supporting mechanisms. So certainly we have had the conversations with them, and we'll continue to have the conversations, but I don't feel like we're overstepping their commitment to us. But I will say that on the backside of that, when we do get new partners, there definitely will be that potential for, if you have a grocery stand advertising, if you have Hy-Vee advertising, right now they're advertising on the ice and they're advertising on the boards. If Cub Foods wants to name a rink, we're probably gonna have to figure out how all that works out, because typically grocery stores don't play nicely together. So those are things that we are definitely gonna have to figure out as we go.
The other comment I wanted to make was that I just would encourage us to try to, or actually two comments. One, and be great to have a local business. Again, if we find someone, not necessarily Cottage Grove, but South Washington County, that just feels better to me. I have a little resistance to the idea of changing the name of the arena itself. I sort of feel like Cottage Grove's known for this arena. But I don't know if others feel that way or not, if it's worth formalizing or anything, but I do have there's this feeling of, wow, what are we losing, and how do we value the loss of that name recognition around town here? I don't know how to answer that. I just would hope that council would take that into consideration. So, thank you.
It's a fair comment, and certainly something I've tangled with too, is right now you talk to somebody from Roseau and you say, Cottage Grove, oh, you're that place with the nice ice rink. Now it's going to be called something else, and you lose a little bit of identity, but how much is that worth?
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say, I kind of, to that point, I feel like when it's like Cottage Grove, it's like the community, but then sometimes once you get a big name on it, then you're like, is it still have that community feel? But like you said, to what amount does
Yeah.
that take?
I think something that we will all have to, hopefully we have that option to tangle with that, right?
Yes.
Might not even get an option to, it depends on what they can stir up, so. But it's a good comment, and I will definitely share that.
How long is the average contract with a sponsor?
15 years,
15 years? Okay.
10 or 15,
It's quite a commission payment then.
yeah. And they do have options to negotiate that commission payment down based on how you want to pay. If you pay more upfront, the commission comes down considerably. So like you said, on a large contract like this, 3% is a lot. So if you make your payments up front, you can get that payment down quite a bit.
Okay. Any other comments from the commission?
What is the estimated monetary value of something like this to the city?
So I would say an entire facility can range anywhere from 750,000 to 1.5 million
For the life
for
of
the
the
entire
contract?
life of that.
Okay.
And then just a sheet of ice, a facility would probably be more like the 500 to 850,000. So it's significant.
That, to be clear, though, that's over the course of the 15-year agreement.
Correct.
Yep.
So it looks like they've always been successful in securing a sponsorship. But what happens if you go through all of the phases and they don't? Then the city's just kind of out that amount of money that is listed in their presentation.
Yes, Commissioner Gustafson, that is true. There is a 30-day opt-out in the contract at any time. So the goal would be, obviously, the city staff is going to be as big a, they're going to be, one of the drivers in this process, right? So we're meeting regularly, and if something's not feeling right, I think we've talked with the owner, and he said, I'll know pretty quickly if it's a good market out there for you. But yes, and then he said, in his words, I'll tell you if I've got a bad feeling, it's probably time to stop and cut your losses and move on. But he also says that he's never gone without a contract too, so,
Okay, yeah, because it says, according to this, it says they've been 100%
Yeah.
successful.
right?
So I just don't know, I mean, I know the market is a little bit more challenging
Yep.
right now with businesses, so I don't know if that would be an impact.
Yeah, so it is, yeah, it's a risk.
I believe we'll entertain a motion to support the ice arena naming rights proposal moving forward.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve, no, well, are we approving, or are we just moving it?
Just supporting.
To support the ice rink naming rights proposal?
Second?
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Moving on to the 2024-2027 work plan review.
Thank you, Chair, members of the commission. I submitted the work plan review. I like to get to this at least once a year to remind the commission of our mission and our goals. This is a document that I use to guide our conversations, so, you know, I want to make sure that we're addressing all the goals that you've set forth. And then, based on some, and when I've done this in the past, but I forgot to do it this time, so thank you for Commissioner Olson for reminding me, but I added in red and I handed those out tonight, some of the examples of how we're achieving those goals on that secondary work plan list. And I guess at this point, I'm just looking to reaffirm that the work plan doesn't need to change. We're happy with where it's going. Is there anything we need to do differently?
Comments?
Thanks for the update, adding the update, Zach. My only other comment I would say is on item number 5. You know, we do a lot to support that disc golf course,
Oh,
and
yeah,
that's athletic activity too. And I just think it's hard to remember it all. So it's good for us to talk about it all.
Yep.
And so I just wanted to add that. But otherwise, I like the work plan.
I will do that. And I don't know that any action is necessary if there's no actual change of the work plan, but otherwise any discussion is welcome.
Any further comment? Sounds like we're good with the work plan. Commissioner term review.
Thank you, Chair, members of the commission. Just want to get in front of you your commissioner terms. We do have, bear with me as I find it. We do have one commissioner term expiring, two commissioner terms expiring
Just one.
in February 27. In February 26, we have Commissioner Crabtree's term expiring, so we will be looking for one new commissioner for sure. I don't need any action tonight, other than I want to make sure that you are all aware of this. They are 2-year terms, so if you are interested in renewing so if you expire in 2026 and you're interested in a additional term, I'll want to know that prior to February, so you have a little bit of time to think about it. And then also just a reminder that we are looking for 2 youth open seats. Commissioner Waterman has aged out, he's no longer a student, so looking for 2 youth seats. If you know anybody, I think it's 13 and up, so 13 to any high school students can be on the commission, so. Any questions or concerns on that?
All right, moving on to presentations.
And then just back up for 1 second.
Yeah.
For the youth commissioner seats,
Oh.
I write out a ton of letters of recommendation and support for college applications, job applications, and so if you know anybody, remind them of that. Looks really good on the resume. Thank you. Back to
Oh,
action updates. So Denzer Park, we are, if you haven't been near Denzer Park, the homes are starting to be built, and it sounds like that apartment complex is interested in some property there again. So, you know, as there's actually development moving around the park, we're gonna look next year at starting to construct that park. I don't think we'll get it all done next year, but hopefully over the course of the next year and a half, Denzer Park, we will open that up.
Zach,
Go ahead.
Excuse me, I just wanted to mention, I saw Randy this past weekend and kind of told him where we were at on it, and he's really excited. He's really excited about the design.
Remind him, I still haven't got any information for the interpretive sign, because obviously his family name's up there, and I'm trying to get some pictures or some information that we can put on that sign. So if you see him, remind him.
If I see him, I will.
Cottage Grove Trailway corridor restoration, we've been burning some piles out there, finally getting those large piles of brush and debris out of there. It's a slow process, but once the snow's on the ground, then we should be able to burn all those down. And then we did lose some trees to, I think, some overspraying, unfortunately, from Arbor Day. Most of the trees survived, but there were some patches that didn't make it. So we'll probably end up doing another Arbor Day tree planting out there again to fill that in. And then continue with some of the forest management area there and then reseeding. But the prairie started coming in really, really well this past year. You saw a lot of flowers out there, so that project is going well. Oltman Park, if you haven't driven through Oltman Park, the 3 lacrosse, football, soccer fields are pretty much done. They won't get seeded this year, or actually they'll get dormant seeded this year, so we've been waiting to put the seed down just because we didn't want it to germinate, then frost and kill everything. So they haven't seeded it yet, have they?
They were up there working today, so.
So they were seeding today. So they'll seed it and then they'll cover it. But basically that park is 99% done. They've got the parking lot in, they striped it. So our crew will go in and excavate for the playground this week. And then the playground's supposed to show up and start getting constructed into next week. So hopefully that's done. If you remember, that's that large timber kind of obstacle course looking feature, which will be new to the community. So that'll be exciting. And then I don't know if the picnic shelter, I'm guessing that'll probably go in next year. So anyways, that project finally came through and something we've been talking about for many years. So it's nice to see that one complete. And then they won't be able to play on it. Next year will be a growing season, and then they'll be able to play on it probably in spring of '27. Mississippi Dunes Park just continue to work on a lot of different funding options. We actually did submit, I can't remember if I brought that to the commission, but we submitted the road, the state road, I can't remember what it was called, a new grant that we discovered, which doesn't happen very often these days, I feel like, but we discovered a new grant, which is called a State Park Road Access, or something like that. So if we can get that and we can get the road into the park, that opens everything up for us, because that's money that I wasn't projecting we could get without the 3M settlement dollars. So if we can get someone else to pay for the road in, now we can start getting grants for things like playgrounds and fishing piers and things, and start piecing that together. So that's very exciting. It seems like we should know, I think we should know that by the end of the year if we got that or not, so. In the meantime, there's trails down there and there's a small parking lot that people can at least enjoy the land. Kingston Park building, no updates on that. Other than the design is complete and waiting just for approval from council to move forward on construction, which probably won't be until late '26, early '27. Peterson Park, that's over by the former Roberts Lake area. If you haven't been through there, they're starting to build homes there. So the park we don't own the land around the lake yet. We own a little bit of land by the lake, but we don't own all the way around it. The developer hasn't dedicated that to us yet, but when they do, I've had the privilege of walking all the way around the lake. It's an awesome trail back there around that lake. So I'm very excited to see that come to fruition. So they will build that trail for us. They were talking about doing some of it this year, but if not this year, it'll be next year. And then they'll also build a small parking lot up on the north side with access from Jamaica. So you can park at the parking lot and then walk all the way around the lake. So one of the few areas where we have a pond or a trail all the way around a lake or a pond. So that's exciting. Still Ponds Park, no major updates there other than the natural trail that you guys had walked before. That's up. We put a sign up and then discovered that what we wanted to do for the sign, we used an old rock sign that used to be located off 80th and Hadley. And then we discovered the sign we were going to put over it didn't work. So if you ever drive by and wonder why there's this goofy "Welcome to Cottage Grove" sign up, we're working on it. I got the new design today. I sent it to the printer, so hopefully we have a new sign here within the next handful of weeks. So it's a little odd looking for now. Any questions on any of those updates or anything else I missed that's happening in the community that I haven't addressed?
I just asked that we go to Oltman Park on our tour next summer.
For sure.
I'd love to see that.
Yep, that'll be one of the stops.
Any comments, questions? Good. Donations?
Nothing to acknowledge tonight.
All right, staff reports and materials.
Just each manager had submitted division updates, and then I attended a Minnesota Recreation Park Association conference a couple weeks ago. A lot of good topics in there. If there was anything in there that you saw that was interesting, I can tell you if I went to the seminar or not, and then I can, I can answer what I can about it for you. But there's a lot of good information there, one of which was Commissioner Glassford was one of the, probably something I would have never attended. I actually got lost, and I ended up in a social media influencer class. And the impact of social media influencers on marketing your programs and places is pretty incredible, something I never, again, I wasn't intending to attend this class, and it blew my mind on what social media influencers, how many people they can connect with compared to what the government can do, because people don't typically engage with government posts very well, but they like these social media influencers. The other thing I learned is that 51% of youth under the age of 15 want to be social media influencers.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Never knew that. So anyways, lots of good information in there. If you have questions, I'm happy to answer.
You got lost in Heritage Center in Brooklyn.
Yeah, have you ever been there?
I've been to MRPA there.
It's a weird layout. It's
It is.
barns and, yeah, it's weird. You ended up all the way back at the hotel. I ended up in the hotel and I got lost. Yeah.
All right. Commission comments. Any comments from the commission? Commissioner Clausen for council?
Thank you. Couple comments from the last council meeting. As part of your Parks Rec and the natural resources part, one of the big topics that is came before the council and will be in the next few years is the Nelson Amrise Holcomb mining proposal. Great Cloud Island, if it, just as a way of history, there is a mining operation there now, and they mining aggregate, it gets pushed up by barge up into St. Paul and up to Semstone, and the product is used in building materials all around the metro. It's one of the closest ones, and it's very efficient to push the gravel aggregate up there. Well, they'll be exhausting their current supply in about 5 years, so they have put a proposal back in 2022, it started, an environmental impact statement to expand the mine out into another area of the Mississippi, which is created some comments in the community and people that live on both sides of the river and in the area. One of the things that just came before the council was the environmental impact statement, and we had to approve the statement. So the only thing the council was asked to approve last week was very narrow questions, and they were, did we follow the state law in setting up the environmental impact statement, and did everybody follow the law, and did the citizens and the public have enough time to comment? So over 3 years, and we've come up with this 1,000-page document. If you want to read it, it's on the city's website. So we just approved that the document was done properly by the law. It is not, we did not approve for them to go ahead and start mining. That is going to be probably years in the future, but that's something that creates a lot of comments on social media and comments in the community. Just wanted to update you on that. The other thing is, thank you for your comments about the naming rights. That's a topic in the council. I think the council is kind of divided on whether to move forward with that or not, because if they don't find somebody, the total cost to the city the minimum cost would be about $20,000, maybe a little more. And you bring up great comments about, well, we would lose our identity. One might be renewal by Anderson Windows Arena. It could be, and we would lose, I'm just using that as an example. And how much is naming it worth in terms of name recognition and dollars? So everything you said, great comments, and I'll bring that back to the council. That is all I had on my notes. Next, not related to parks, but I want to let everybody know now, is you're going to hate driving on 80th Street next summer. all the way from Highway 61 to the high school is going to be reconstructed. Lanes are going to be closed, ramps on and off 61 are going to be closed at various times. It's going to have a hard time getting to the businesses around Hy-Vee. I want to warn you now. It's going to be a lot. And 19 and 80 is also going to have the roundabout being constructed. And everybody should know about that now. Do you have any questions for the council or anything you want me to bring back or any other things around the city that you want to know about that I can try and answer?
Any questions for the councilman?
Thank you for the information on the mining, because it made it seem like there's been some articles that made it seem like you guys had approved moving forward with doing the mining. And so I was like, oh, okay, so I'm thankful for that clarification.
Okay, thank you.
All right, workshop. Then we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I think we're adjourned.